सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम् वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्। श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात्। In the second chapter of the second canto, answering one of the questions of Parikshita, Shukadev ji informs various processes. Actually, it is not various, there are only two processes. Either there is Jivan Mukti or Krama Mukti. And that is the best way available to quit this world. Instead of transmigrating from one Janma to the other, from one life to the other, not knowing what next life we are going to procure by the actions that we have put forth in this life. It can be any one of the 84 lakh varieties based on what we have incurred, good or bad. Based on that, we get the next lives. So the best way to quit this whole system is either through the Krama Mukti or through the Sadhyo Mukti. Sadhyo Mukti is the Jivan Mukti. So having given that particular beautiful methods to contemplate upon, now in the third chapter, some of the Vedantins ridicule that if you are with the Lord, it has to be Nishkam. The thing is, yeah, it is okay if you are Nishkama. Rather, it is the best that could happen if you have no desires in your worship for the Lord. What is the only desire? The only desire is to have the darshan of the Lord. Like when we chant different stotras and things, when we do the nyasa, karanyasa, hridayanyasa, then we make the sankalpa. Why are we doing this? Vishnoho prityartham. The only reason is to please the Lord. Now the pleasing the Lord has not to be misunderstood that I am pleasing the Lord so that I can get my desires fulfilled. I am pleasing the Lord only because of my intense love for the Lord and no other reason. Why do you want to do whatever you do to the ones that you love? In spite of going through so much of strain and pain, the only reason being that you love them that intensely. So I am doing this to the Lord because I love that Lord so intensely. Vishnoho prityartham. Yes, that is the nishkama bhava, which is ideal. But as Lord puts it even in Bhagavad Gita, he says, if at all you have to desire for anything, desire it from the Lord himself. That's why he says there are 4 kinds of seekers. Artho jignasurartharthi jnani cha bharatarshabha. Artaha. Now this category of a seeker remembers the Lord once in a blue moon. When does he remember? Whenever he is in trouble. As long as they are not in trouble, God is not a concept in their life. The moment there is a little bit of trouble, they are panic stricken. The first thing that they remember is God. Because so much of habit into the worldly life, there is a possibility that you forget God. But yes, these people have not forgotten God. That's grace of Lord again, that they remember the Lord in times of misery and troubled times. Artaha. Then there are those who are called Jignasu. Jignasu, very inquisitive by nature. Anything that is into the realm of unknown, they cannot sit quietly. It becomes a challenge for them. How come I cannot understand it? What is it that makes it so difficult for me to understand? So they take it up as a challenge. They challenge the scriptures, they challenge the masters, but they have that zeal to know, which further gets mellowed down when they receive logical answers, reasonable answers, and they can figure out with their own contemplation that yes, this is worth trusting, and hence in that trust they leap forward. Jignasu, artaha jignasu. Then there are those of us, probably in the third variety, most of us are included. Jignasu are still rare. Artharthi. Why do we come to God? And we have some artha. So in Hindi they say, सेवा करोगे तो मेवा पाओगे. Do some service, some namaskar, so that there will be some chamatkar. So these artharthis are the ones wherein they have namaskar chamatkar relation. Oh Lord, I do so much of service to you, you give me this in return. My health is not alright, so I worship you with this mantra, invoke you with this mantra, and you give me this much. I want this kind of a benefit, so I invoke this kind of a form of yours, and then you benefit me with this. Like sometimes when you read this Mahalakshmi Ashtakam, in the end, the last three slokas. The last three slokas, ekakale pathen nityam, dvikalam yah pathet. The third one is fantastic. What is the third one? Mahashatru vinashanam. You know, these fellows are so terrible, treacherous, they are giving me so much pain, misery, they are my enemies. Naste stu mahamaye sripi hiteswara pujite shuru. Artha arthi. They are desirous of certain benefits, results, kamana siddhi. They have some kamya and that has to be fulfilled. When we have different bhajans, artis, tum purana paramatma, you are the one who fulfills our desires, please fulfill this desire of mine. Ishta kamyartha siddhyartham. Ishta, the desirous, liked ones. Kamya, the liked desires. Ishta, liked. Kamya, desires. Ishta, kamya. Artha, to reach the goal. Siddhyartham, to achieve it, I am performing this puja, invoking this form. Even they are better than those who do not trust or have faith in God. Because for whatever needs, they turn to that Supreme. It may be in a bargain, it may be in kind of a demanding from the Lord, but they are still better than not remembering God. Artharthi. Then there are those who are Nishtha Purusha. Nishtha, Jnana Nishtha. They are called Jnanis. Those who have not just have this intellectual knowledge, but that intellectual knowledge has a firm grip of experience. Such ones are the Jnani. So all of these kinds come to the Lord, they are the seekers of the Lord. Sometimes we keep fluctuating also from one to the other to the other. But we are into that brand of seekers, seeking Lord. So in the earlier chapter, second chapter, we discussed about what is that form of Lord that has to be contemplated so that we finish all this desire-oriented life and living. Then here Shukadev ji in third chapter starts that there are different reasons for which different forms of gods can be invoked. In fact, while invoking different forms of these gods, you are invoking the same Supreme. The same Supreme is invoked. But in that particular form, there is a specific desire fulfilled. So he says, Brahma varchasa kamastu yajeta brahmanaspatim. If you want the Brahma varchasa, tejas of the Brahman, the knowledge, then he said, you invoke that Supreme in the form of Brahmanaspatim. Brahmanaspatim, Brihaspati. Indramindriya kamastu praja kamah prajapatin. There are different forms of worships for invoking prajapatis to have santana prapti. You know that even Dasharatha did. He did the putra kameshti, invoking these prajapatis. How many such things do happen? Panchama Veda, this is called Bhagavata Shastra. Veda Samhitam, Veda Samhita. This Bhagavata, whatever is being said, you can trust it, saying that this is the very incarnation form of the word form of the Lord. So when you invoke it in this particular form of the Prajapati, you will have Sat Santana. Then he says, Indram Indriya Kamastu. There are different desires of different Indriyas. To see something, to hear something, to taste something. So invoke Indra. So one after the other, there is this different levels. Those who want, Vitta is the Dhana. Invoke Lakshmi Devi. Those who want the Tejas, invoke Agni Devata. So meaning every single desire that you have, you invoke that form of God. And when performed as per the rituals given, you procure that result. Now why is this being given here? Is that there are these different forms of upasanas to be done. What does the upasana mean? You are doing the invocation of that Supreme in that form. When that Supreme is invoked in the form of a creator, he becomes Brahmaji. When that same Supreme becomes the person or the entity to manage this universe, he becomes Vishnu. When the same entity, same Supreme is invoked to withdraw this universe, becomes Rudra Shiva. When there is some specific problem, to remove that, Vigna Hantra. When the Vignas are to be removed. So we invoke Ganeshji. That is why even when we start with any puja or anything, we start with the first invocation goes to Ganeshji. He takes away the Vigna. So invoke that form for that specific necessity. So in the 10th shloka he says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Akamaha sarva kamaha va moksha kamaha udaradhihi. Udaradhihi. Udaradhi. The 9 shlokas described different kinds of invocations of different forms of God. They are called Alpa Buddhi. They have Buddhi, but they use it very less. Alpa Buddhi. Alpa Buddhi is not to mean that they have less of brain or less of intelligence. They have intelligence, use it less. Alpa Buddhi. But here in the 10th sloka, it says they are called Udharadhihi. They are the people who have the brightest intellect, greatest buddhi. Greatest buddhi in what? Is of all the desires, the greatest desire is to be akamaha, to be desireless. See, to be desireless is also a desire, isn't it? So that is the heights of the intellectual glory wherein you desire for the desireless state. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Invoke that supreme form of the Lord, Narayana himself, with Tivra Bhakti Yoga, so that you reach to this state of desirelessness. Now, what does invocation mean? What does this upasana mean? Upasana means upa asana. Asana, the seat. Upa meaning as close as possible. As close as possible, seating yourself closer to. See, if there is a group of people around Gurudev, first when I had gone, I had my own apprehensions. So sitting at the very end, watching, कर क्या रहे हैं, देखते हैं. Then as I kept on coming and seen that, Gurudev, the way he interacts, the way he gives out clarity, the deal was to reach there in such a time that you get the closest proximity to sit and understand from him. So reaching closest to that form that you are invoking, what happens then? The buddhi which has already the capacity to achieve it, but so far has been untapped, never used. Never ever you have opened that particular chamber of the buddhi, so you never even recognize that existed. That internal capacity gets revealed. That is the result of upasana. In the same line, what is the biggest thing that is unrevealed so far? The biggest thing that is unrevealed so far, which has been stated by every single scripture again and again and again, is, Baba, that Paramatma that you are talking about, that God that you are searching, that Ishtadeva that you are searching, is nothing but the one who is residing in your very heart. That which is residing in my own heart as my own self is not invoked. So with this upasana, the buddhi, when it becomes nischala, when it becomes pure, that which is internal, that which is inside, the core of this whole being itself, reveals itself unto itself. This, when you start applying Bhagavati achalo bhavaha yat bhagavata sangataha, this, when you start relating to the different stories of the Lord and start applying it in your life, in your contemplation, slowly and slowly you reach closer to that Lord. This is one way of looking at the upasana. As this discussion was happening, Shaunakji Maharaj gets a doubt. Now, where did Shaunakji come from suddenly? Originally this started off being a discussion between Shaunakadi Rishis and Suta Maharaj, who was relating the story or the discussion between Parikshit and Shukadevji. So here Shaunakji asks, he says, this upasana that you are talking about is very effective. Very, very effective. In fact, when you take the name of the Lord, the taking of the name of the Lord in itself is a blessings or the grace of the Lord flowing into that seeker's life. Because in order to understand Savai Bhagavato Raja Balaka Kridanaihi Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade Vayasikascha Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanaha. We know of this Parikshit who has been, while he was growing up, his upasana is so strong. How was his upasana? Like, while kids play, they have this house or they have these different things of day-to-day reality in their little game things. It seems Parikshit used to play Bala Kridanakaihi Krishna Kridam. So he used to become Krishna. And all the stories that were related to him by his ancestors, they used to enact. So one used to be Balaram, other used to be the Pandavas, then there was Duryodhana, then they used to have this Krishna Krida. And as he grew up, Vayasikascha, he started contemplating more about that Lord who had protected him. Now, the name of the Lord, whether it is done in the most playful way, childish way, or in the most serious contemplative way, has the effect of softening the rock-like internal equipment, antahkaran. In fact, I tell you this 19th shloka, Shaunakji must be really mad at the people of Kali Yuga. The way he says this, गाली दे देते हैं सबको. नयत कर्ण पथोपेतः, the one who does not pay attention or even listen in one lifetime to the Lord's name, such one samstutaha purushaha pashuhu. Samstutaha, he is well known as an animal in the form of a human body. Why? Because even the animals have that by tendency, by default, their reflexes. They live only in their world, not thinking about anything better. They act in their own reflexes. There's a human being, after taking a human birth, does not even utter the name of the Lord even once. What good is that human birth? And then he continues, he says, Bile, the karna is like a hole, tunnel, not serving the purpose of hearing the name of the Lord. Nashranvatah karna pute narasya bile syahat. It is just a hole in the head, wherein it does not pay attention to the name of the Lord. He says, Bharaha param. Param bharaha. They are like heavy burden on this very earth who doesn't take who are not involved in taking the name of the Lord. Jivat shavo bhagavatongri renum najatum martyaha abhilabhet yahatu. Such people, even though they are breathing, they are like a corpse, living dead life, if the name is not uttered. And then he says, even if you do not have the interest in saying the name of the Lord, start it mechanically. We have seen that even rocks, even of the lower yonis, animals have found themselves qualified to become a great devotee of the Lord if they can change. Human being, even if they mechanically start, they can change from within. All the tendencies, vasanas can be now changed from the Jagat Vasana to the Lord's Vasana, Isha Vasana as it is called. So you have to invoke, you have to mechanically start. So we are glad that, hey Sutaji, that you are informing this to us like. Now this is another beautiful part. After having said so much, you know what Shaunakji says? He says, whatever I have described so far, it is people like me. This is the great yukti or greatness of an individual, wherein this you find even in Ramcharitmanas. Tulsidas ji also applies the same kind of style of saying things. If there is something good, sublime, great, he indicates it through Vibhishana, through Hanumanji, through different people in Ramayana, he indicates it through them. If there is something bad to be indicated, even in his bhajans, in Vinay Patrika and other places, it is Kaun Kuthila Khala Kami Mosam. Now who can be more wretched than me? Why? In spite of seeing the Lord, I am not able to cognize Him. In spite of His indications to look at Him, I am not looking at Him. So I am Khala, Kami. So he always indicates it to himself. Whereas if he has to talk something good, he never says, though it is like praising myself, but what to do? And then he starts putting on good words there. He never does that. He indicates it to somebody. So this is what Shaunakji also says. We are so blessed that we are having, O Sut Maharaj, your grace and the grace of Lord himself, that people like us who are with this kind of hard rock-like existence have the opportunity to soften themselves by hearing to Bhagavad Katha. So we are eager to know more about it. Now Sutaji, who is also now inspired, in the 4th chapter he says, this 4th chapter has some of the most beautiful verses by Shukadev ji. Sutaji says, Vaiyasike riti vachaha tattva nishchayatmanaha upadharya matim krishne autareya satim vyadhat. Now what you have asked about knowing of Lord Sri Krishna, even Autareyaha, the son of Uttara, even he had the same kind of mind wherein his mind was Satim Vyadhat. Sati, the mind which has been now completely offered to that Sat Swarupa of the Lord. That is the actual meaning of Sati. We find that word Sati being used so regularly in Bhagavad Shastra. Sometimes when the people they talk about the existing ritual of Sati, they quote these things and they say, Bhagavad Shastra also says that Sati is good. Said what Sati they are talking about, wherein your mind is completely absorbed in nothing but the Sat Swarupa of the Lord. Even Parikshita was totally into that. Paprachache mayevartham yanmam prachata sattamaha krishnanubhava shravane shraddadhano mahamanaha samstham vijnaya sanyasya karmatraivargikam chayat vasudeve bhagavati atmabhavam dridam gataha. Now atmabhavam dridam gataha, with his total intense heart towards the Lord and his devotion, Raja Parikshit asked this to Sri Shukadev ji. He says, Samichinam vacho brahman sarvajnasya tavanagha tamo vishiryate mahyam hare kathayatah katham. He says, O Munishwara, Anagha, the most purest one, please, you being a Sarvajna, knowing everything, these stories coming from you, because you are very good at relating these stories to us, please tell more so that my mind which has been so involved in the Maya, my mind which was so involved in the Trigunas, my mind which was so involved into the samsara, can withdraw itself completely without a trace of this samsara, completely dedicating itself to the Lord. And knowing this greatness of the Lord, I know even great people right from Brahmaji find it difficult to understand the intricacies of the Lord and His creation. Nunam bhagavato brahman harer adbhutam akarnaha. That beautiful stories of the Lord which alone can reveal these secrets. Hey Munishwara, please tell me those stories in detail about this creation of the Lord. Then Shukadev ji starts, Namah parasmai purushaya bhuyase. And whenever they start talking of the Lord, the first thing they do is invoke the blessings of the Lord. And we find this another trait of the whole Purana, that whenever they say, there are two things that you find in common. One, they invoke the Lord and His blessings. Second, the knowledge, either before giving it or after having given it, they tell them where from this knowledge had been originated and claim that that saint has done a great deal to humanity for passing on this knowledge. Meaning what? This knowledge is of the rishis. I happen to be in this place wherein I am having the greatness, I am having the blessedness to convey that message which was given by these great masters to the generations, to you in particular. So Shukadev ji starts, he says that my namaskar to that Parama Purusha, without whose being nothing of this individual can ever happen. Bhuyaha namo, again and again I prostrate unto that Supreme, because yat kirtanam, yat smaranam, yadikshanam, yad vandanam, yat shravanam, yadarhanam, lokasya sadhyo vidunoti kalmasham, tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha. This is a beautiful part of this particular explanation of Shukadev ji. He calls the Lord as Subhadra Shravase. We never find that kind of a name of the Lord anywhere else. He says, who is this Lord? The one, Yat Kirtanam, the one of whose Kirtana alone should be done. Yat Smaranam, that whose contemplation or constant thinking inside should happen. Yadikshanam, if at all you have to see that form of the Lord. Yat Vandanam, the one who is to be prostrated to again and again, the one whose glories have to be heard again and again. Lokasya sadhyaha vidhunoti kalmasham. When our life is thus oriented around God alone, sarva kalmasham vidhunoti, it washes away all kinds of sins. And the best part in this Kali Yuga is, we don't need to understand Tattvamasi Mahavakya. We don't need to understand the intricacies of logics in Vedanta. Maybe by telling this I am contradicting what is happening in the mission. That nothing else is required. Lokasya sadhyaha, immediately. By what? Subhadra Shravase namo namaha. Shravase, hearing. Subhadra. I first thought while I was reading it, Subhadra Shravase, the one who hears to Subhadra, that Krishna. And later I understood it, Subhadra means through the hearing, the one who brings the best Bhadra, Bhadra meaning the greatest security. What is the greatest security? Is it home? Is it bank balance? Is it stock balance? Or is it in liquid, or is it in assets? Liquidation of nothing of that is Bhadra. That because of which just hearing, which creates this security, that Lord we prostrate. Wherein tapasvinaha, danaparaha, yashasvinaha, manasvinaha, mantravidaha, sumangalaha. There are people who are doing tapascharya, who are doing dana karma, who are doing different kinds of things. All of them, they think of this Lord and they get to the other side of samsara. But then Sutaji says, if they are already tapasvi, if they are already dana vira, if they are already yashasvi, it shows more about their effort than the Lord's blessings. They are already on track, they are already trying to tune themselves. And what is great about this Lord who already blesses them, who have had their own confidence in moving forward? Then he says, again he uses the word Subhadra Shravase, meaning all these people who have done various kinds of great deeds, Lord takes his form to bless them. Pay attention to this beautiful point here. Lord takes that form to bless them. But then, the hearing of the name is more powerful than seeing the Lord himself. See, he takes you across after you have put so much of effort to be a tapasvi, to be a yogi, to be a jnani. Then he shows you his darshana to take you across. But the nama promises to take you across even if you are the most wretched kind of an individual. The nama promises you to take across. Like we find in Ramayana also. Even in Bhagavat we will find in Krishna Charitra. For Draupadi, Kunti and Pandavas, whenever they prayed, Lord used to come, and how much of hardship they had to go through. Isn't it? But whereas Kamsa, Shishupala, what did they do? They also got mukti by just taking the nama. Those people who seek his very darshana, they probably get a uttama gati. But those who take the nama, even though they are the most low of the humankind, they get a direct mukti. That kind of secure, that kind of bhadra is the name that you chant and listen to. To such a great named one, I prostrate. You know, there is a beautiful bhajan. Jo naam ka pratap ho. You know, the name, the pratap, the glory of this name is larger than, greater than, bigger than the Nami himself. That Subhadra which is reached by, and yesterday when I was reading through this shloka, I felt a little jolt. He says, even people who are papaha, like what? Kirata, Huna, Andhra. It comes in the list here. Pulinda, Pulakasa, Abhiga, Kanka, Yavana. Like these kinds of Neet Jatis also get uttirna by the very name of the Lord. Shuddhyanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. That Lord, whose very name, the very thinking of the name of that Lord takes us across to the other side of samsara. Sayesha Atma Atmavatam Adhishvaraha Trayimayo Dharma Mayas Tapomayaha. Now it is that same supreme form of God who is of the form of dharma to the people who are leading a righteous life, who is the very form of Veda, who are following the path of Karma Kanda. He is the very form of Atma for the Jnanis. For the Bhakta, the Nama itself is enough. I tell you, there is nothing much more deeper, much more required, balanced for us in Kali Yuga. It seems this is what gets revealed both in Ramayana and in Mahabharata, that in earlier times, Papa, when is it considered Papa? Even if a thought goes across in the mind which is of a Papa Vritti, you incur the sin and the results of it. This was from Satya Yuga to Dwapar Yuga. Even if there is a slight thought, a ripple going through the mind of any kind of Papa Vritti, you would incur the sin of that karma. That thought had that kind of an effect. You did not execute it. In Kali Yuga, people whose mind is full of Kali. I told you the meaning of Kali last time. Kali means mechanical, Kali means that which is motorized. Everything is on a yantrika. Yantrika, that which is automated. Isn't it everything automated? Kali also means that which is sinful. When you open inside and peep inside, one should have courage to peep inside one's own heart and find that kind of kalusha. And provided we were there in Satya Yuga, for every single thought there we would have had reaped. But in Kali Yuga, just because you have a thought, you don't get Papa. Unless it is said or executed in an action. So we are in one way the best of the times. The second reason why we are in the best of the times is, in Satya Yuga, you had to spend hundreds of years doing tapasya. Here, we don't have 100 years to live. What about living for hundreds of years for doing tapasya? Even the Rakshasas used to perform tapasya for thousands of years to get their boons. Then later they would get corrupted. In the Treta Yuga, you are required to perform lot of yajna, yaga, karma, continuously. That was the process of purification. Have you ever performed a havan, homa? When you sit there for more than 2-3 hours continuously, especially when you are doing Chandi Homa and the bigger homas, right from morning till afternoon, late in the afternoon you keep offering, and then at fire you feel so like what Shaunakadi Maharshis, they have the same experience. In Dwapar Yuga there was a lot of Murti Puja, Panchayatana Puja. In Kali Yuga, neither tapasya is required, nor yaga karma is required, nor the Panchayatana Puja Vidhana is required. Just taking the name of the Lord is more than sufficient. For doing tapasya, for doing yajna, yaga karma, or for performing puja, there is some qualifications required. Both external and internal. Some kind of authenticity was required before you do it. If you are not authorized to do it, you would incur sin. But for taking the name of the Lord, you don't need any adhikar. Absolutely need no adhikar. Anybody from any kind of background starts chanting the name of the Lord. And who else can tell us the result of the chanting of the name of the Lord other than Valmiki himself? Where he did not even say the name in a straight way. He repeated in the wrong way. Mara, 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 Mara. And he became a Mukta Purusha. Now that beautiful name of the Lord, which are taken by Brahmaji, Shankarji and all the great Mahatmas, to think of the Lord, they take this name and keep meditating on that name. This name, which gives us that security, is the best blessing that we have. And he says, still is in his invocations, he says, Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedhase Papur Jnanamayam Saumya Yanmukhamburuhasavam. Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedhase. To that great Lord Vasudeva, son of Vasudeva, I prostrate again and again to make my heart. Who is saying this? Shukadevji is saying it as a prayer to the Lord, saying that make my heart always revel onto your feet. The one who is the very embodiment of jnana, the one who is embodiment of the highest nature of truth, to that I prostrate again and again. Now regarding your question, Parikshit, this is all after having invoked. Etad eva atmabhuhu rajan naradaya vipruchate. The same question about the grandeur of this creation was asked by Naradji to Swayambhu. Swayambhu? No, we are not talking of Manu here. Swayambhu is the first one who had come all by himself in the Nabhi. There are many names of that Brahmaji. Sometimes he is called Virinchi. Now here is called Atmabhuhu Swayambhu. And this knowledge was given by Narayana Swayam to Narada, to Brahmaji. Brahmaji gave this knowledge to Narada, and Narada gave this knowledge to my father Vyasa, and Vyasaji told me this knowledge. Meaning, by giving the lineage, one thing is ascertained. This is not something of a new knowledge that I am experimenting on you. Sometimes we come across self-proclaimed, where they say, I just found this knowledge. So there is a little speculation. You don't know how far it is going to really work out or not work out. But by giving the lineage of this whole knowledge, meaning all of these Mahatmas have themselves reached to that supreme height through this knowledge and have given this to the next generation. Meaning it is tested, experienced and authentic. Second, the speaker himself here in front of the Lord feels so small that it is not my knowledge that I am trying to give it to you, O Parikshit. This is the knowledge that the Lord himself has given to Brahmaji. Now Parikshit is like, when was this knowledge given to Brahmaji? And what is this knowledge that Swayam Narayana has given to Brahmaji? So here Naradji asks in the 5th chapter, wherein whatever we read in Vedanta or different Upanishads of this whole creation, different various themes of creation, is given beautifully in this. The 5th chapter explains about the creation. The 6th chapter explains about the various aspects of the Lord in His expression. And the 7th chapter, this explains various avatars of the Lord. This 7th chapter is not to be missed one. Because in short, will be given by Shukdev ji a gist of complete Krishna Leela. Sometimes this 7th chapter is even recited over and over as the Sankshipta Bhagavat. And in the 8th chapter, the other questions of Parikshit are answered. So in the 5th question he says, not in the 5th, in the 5th chapter, Shukdev ji tries to describe one of the questions that Parikshit has asked. Which form of God to be worshipped? She has already answered it in the Virat Swarupa as well as the personal deity here of the Krishna form is explained. But he says, just because they have explained those two forms, we cannot conclude that there is no other form to be worshipped, because every single aspect of this manifest creation that we see is nothing but the form of divine himself. There is nothing other than the divine that could exist as this manifest creation. But as long as we, from our individualistic standpoint, wherein we believe that ego is the main entity existing and that which belongs to that ego is alone real, that sense of reality accepted by ego makes us not perceive divinity. When that taken out, when that particular entity called ego is scrapped out of the system, then what we see is that supreme even in the manifest. So here Naradji, who asks his father, who is his father? Swayambhu Brahmaji himself. Deva Deva Namastestu Bhuta Bhavana Purvaja. Bhuta Bhavana Purvaja. Of this whole creation, you are the Purvaja, Agraja. You are born before them and you created all this. Yad Rupam Adhishtanam Yataha Srishtam Idam Prabho Yat Samstham Yat Param Yatcha Tattvam Vada Tattvataha. I want to know the essence. Essence of what? What is the actual form of that Lord? And all that which you have created, where from have you created it? How have you created it? Why have you created it? How did you get this knowledge, the know-how to create? Tattvam Vataha, Tattvataha. Please tell this from the most essential standpoint. Because yat vijnanaha, yat adharaha, knowing which, knowing the adhara, yekaha srijasi bhutani, if you have created this world, you should be the supreme. But since I have seen you also meditating on somebody, you also having prayers to somebody, who is that somebody? Now, Brahmaji says, he has a smile on his face for two reasons. One, Narada, you are the most compassionate one. Now we will be thinking, why would Brahmaji call Naradji as compassionate? He calls Naradji as compassionate for two reasons. One, not that you don't know of all these questions answers. You know all the answers for the questions above asked. But I thank you to be so compassionate that with your such questioning, the knowledge that I will be sharing with you will benefit the others, seekers later. So for their cause, you are being compassionate on them to reveal this knowledge through me. One reason. Second reason is giving me an opportunity to dwell, to think, to contemplate on the form of the Lord. And who is he? He is the father of Narada. And the way he addresses, he says, Bhavan. And in English, we are limited. And, whether it is the respectful or the disrespectful, we always say it as you. In Hindi, tu, tum or aap. Here it is like, aap. Now one would be wondering, why would the father call his own son aap? In the 7th chapter he reveals that anything that is created in this world, whether it is an insentient being or whether it is a sentient being, is nothing but the avatar of the Lord. What does avatara mean? Avatara means from the existing state, you get down to a different state. Like supposing you are standing there. To get down to that level is called avatarana. From that level to the next level you are getting down is called avatarana. From that supreme conscious state, the Lord just displaying His Sat Swarupa existential reality is into every ounce of this universe which is jada, inert. Don't we see it? That everything that we cognize it as that Paramatma's existence alone. Yes, there was this great Mahatma, he used to say, in a very rough translation of it from Kannada, he used to say that, you are existence. Anything that exists, we call it as ease. Anything that exists, we call it as ease. The flower is, the book is, the watch is, the mic is. Right? Everything is cognized as ease. The cognition of the entire Jada Prapancha or entire world, in fact, is cognized because of that divine expressing as easiness. Is, easiness. Because anything that is in this universe, how do we cognize it? We cognize it as this ease. That aspect of being, existing, is the aspect of supreme expressing. So in that manner, everything that is nothing but divine. Nothing other than divinity has taken avatar. So when Brahmaji, who has created, who is the very source of or start of all this creation, what is his perspective towards creation? It is not something other than, something away from divinity. Everything that is in the manifest form is nothing but divine. Because the moment we see anything other than divine, he calls it as samsara. So to think about that supreme reality, O Naraji, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Because it is with that form of Supreme, like the Surya, Agni, Chandrama and the different planetary objects shine, different devatas, they also shine because of the presence of that Supreme within. Tasmai namo bhagavate vasudevaya dhimahi yanmayaya durjayaya mam bruvanti jagadgurum. Because of whose presence I was able to create this universe, and people who do not know this, they consider me as Jagadguru. In fact, it was his glow, it was his glory that expressed as this universe. Vilajjamana manaya yasya sthatumiksha apethumaya vimohita vikathante mam ahamiti durdhiyaha. Those who are mohitaha. Mohitaha, what do? They vikathante. They always claim mam. It is me. And then it is mine. Not cognizing that they are able to claim as me and mine because of that Supreme dwelling in their heart. In fact, dravyam karma cha kalascha swabhava jiva eva cha vasudevat paro brahman nachanyanyo artho asti tattvataha. This is the tattva, essence of anything and everything. Nacha anyaha artaha asti. There is no other essence, meaning. What is it? Vasudevat paro brahman. Apart from that Supreme Vasudeva, Supreme form of the Lord, there is no dravya, there is no karma, there is no kala. There is no time, there is no space, there is no thing, there is no being without that Supreme. Narayana paravedaha deva narayana angajaha narayana paralokaha narayana paramakhaha narayana paro yogaha narayana param tapaha narayana param jnanam narayana paragatihi. Everything, anything that you can think of, from the Vedas, the Devas, the Loka, everything is nothing but a different form of that divine. Whether we understand this concept or not. It may be too philosophical, too devotional, whether we understand that or not. Benefit of doubt. Benefit of doubt given to the scripture. If what the scripture is saying is true, that this whole universe, manifest universe that we see, is nothing but the Lord Supreme. Just consider that that statement is true for a few moments. If that be true, then what should be our attitude towards the world? The other day, somebody said, Swamiji, we were blessed to find Gurudev's Padukas. I said, where did you get them? I said, we bought it at this auction in such and such a place. I was like wondering, who was that person who was selling Gurudev's Padukas? Because in my head it was like, if I were there, I would have still been clinging on to it. Who is it that who... No, these were blessed by him, touched by him once. And that which is touched by him, we find divinity in it. And how is our treatment towards that? With so much of devotion. So much of devotion that we worship those things. With a worshipful attitude is what we look at them. If every single aspect of this universe, just keep aside your likes and dislikes for a while and think, is that Paramatma himself? First. If it is that Paramatma, can I claim it in my arrogance to be mine? Because who is a devotee? The one who belongs to the Lord is a devotee. The one who tries to possess the Lord, thinking that the Lord should listen to them, they are not devotees. Lord, you are the greatest, but now you listen to me. Whatever you have created, you are the greatest, but still you listen to me. You are my boss, but still you listen to me. What you have given to me, I don't think you have thought enough. Give me this also. Not complete devotion there. Now who is a devotee completely? The one who belongs to the Lord. And the one who serves the Lord in and through, seeing the Lord in and through every single particle of this universe. If that kind of concept be understood by the individual, by the seeker, wherein we are not trying to now suddenly create a layer of love for the entire universe, at least stop hating, stop disrespecting, stop misusing. Because what is it? It is that divine in that form. Sometimes it is very strange to understand the human psychology. When you worship the snakes, there is this Naga Panchami. They go to the snake, what is it called? Snake hole? Yeah, snake pits.
It's called
वर्मी. इंग्लिश में? अच्छा हिंदी में, मैं इंग्लिश की सोच रहा हूँ. Okay, snake pit. And then on that Nag Panchami day, very early in the morning, you go offer milk and offer kumkum, offer haldi, akshata, worship, puja and come. Supposing Nag Devata is pleased. He says, why to put it into the pit? Put it directly into my mouth. The moment you see, what is the instant reaction? Danda ka hai? You have gone to worship. But the worshipful attitude does not go beyond. You are worshipful as long as it is avyakta. If it becomes vyakta, your bhakti becomes avyakta. In true form, Vasudeve Bhagavati, whichever form of Lord that you are worshipping, when you start doing the adhyasa, bringing the mind closer to that Lord by projecting that Lord and divinity, perceiving it in and through every single object that we interact with. कार्य करण कर्तृत्वे द्रव्य ज्ञान क्रियाश्रयाः बध्नन्ति नित्यदा muktam mayinam purusham gunaha. He says, the Lord out of himself, with his Maya, though he being Ananta, with his Maya Shakti, with the help of three gunas of Rajoguna, Tamoguna and the Sattva guna, he created, he maintains and withdraws this whole creation. Kalam karma svabhavancha mayesho mayaya svaya atman yadrichaya praptam vibhuburshuhu apadade. He says, kalam karma svabhavamcha, with the very desire of that Supreme. What desire? That he wanted to become many. Again, having so much of foundation in Vedanta, when such themes come, cannot but avoid bring in the sequence of dream example. Who is the Ishvara of your dream? Who is the boss who creates that dream? I created myself. I projected myself. Hundreds and thousands of characters that are there in that dream. Who creates? Where is the material that you get to create it? It's all the mind stuff which projects itself into these various different kinds of Chara achara, jada chaitanya, prakriti. After having created all the interactions and all the len-den of that world that you have projected, you are the boss. When you wake up, what happens to that world? You have created it, you have sustained it, you have withdrawn it. When you withdraw, what happens to all that? Now you can consider of what happens to all that, provided it was real. If it were really existing, then you can think of what happened to it. If it was never there, was it there? It appeared to be there. So similarly here, with the help of these three gunas, he sustains this seeming appearance of the world and then withdraws it at his will. He projects it at his will, he withdraws it at his will. From the 23rd level, they go into Shukadevji Maharaj, not Shukadevji, here it is Brahmaji himself who has created it. Who else can give a better clarity of creation other than Brahmaji himself? So from here, 23rd shloka, he goes into such subtler details of creation which no other scripture has ever explained. Such beautiful explanation. He says that with the Shakti of the Supreme, this whole thing is created. How does it get created? He says he used the three gunas. Rajoguna and Sattva guna became the nascent cause for everything that is in the universe. With the Tapoguna, with the Tamoguna, the Jnana, Kriya and Dravya, Tamah Pradhanaha tu Abhavat Dravya Jnana Kriyatmakaha. With the essence of Tamoguna of that Supreme were projected all the Dravya material, Jnana of how to use it, and the Kriya. Now at the macrocosmic level, this whole creation is at what level? Is at the tamoguna. Tamoguna of the Supreme. His Rajoguna and Sattva-guna become the unmanifest cause of this manifest universe. Tamoguna, there is another meaning for tamas, meaning that which is dense, that which is thick, that which is gross. Did I pronounce it rightly? Back in India we used to say gross. So gross, that is called tamoguna. So if we have to see this manifest world, it is that effect of tamoguna of the Supreme. Now this whole Srishti again gets into three parts of Vaikarika, Taijasa and Tamasa, which takes the form of Jnana, Kriya and Ichha, Dravya Shakti. Then they become the Pancha Mahabhuta. When this Pancha Mahabhuta start spreading, the first thing that comes out is called the Akasha. Akasha, Tanmatra, has the guna of Shabda. If there is no Akasha, if there is no space, there cannot be any sound. So there needs to be space to transmit sound. But if there is nothing in that space to hold on to that sound, it comes out from the other side. So the guna of the space is Shabda. From the space was born the next one, which is Vayu. Now Vayu gets the guna of Akasha and also its own Vishesha guna. What is the Vishesha guna of Vayu? The Vayu Tanmatra is the Sparsha. Sparsha guna is the Vayu guna. Then from the Vayu came out the Agni. And what is the guna of Agni? Rupa. Strange, isn't it? We would first think that it is heat and light. Agni's guna is heat and light. I said no. The guna of Agni is to give form to everything. See, what will happen to this lectern if we throw it in fire? Imagine, we need not practically do it. What will happen? It will catch fire. Now, what did we do when we put it in fire? We invoked the existing fire in it into an expressing format. That which was avyakta, heat which was avyakta, was acting as a binding agent to give it form. The moment that heat is taken out of it, pay attention, it is a totally different kind of a science. The moment that heat is taken out of it, what does it all become to? Ashes. Isn't it? Everything that burns turns out to be ashes. The rupa of it is lost once you take away the fire from it. So what is the guna of fire? To give forms. Along with the earlier qualities of the Shabda, Sparsha and now Rupa. Then what is the quality of Jala? Water. I say it is Rasa, taste, which is coming out of the Agni. So this water has the guna of taste. When the sapidity, taste buds lose this water sapidity while we have high temperature and you eat at that time, how does it taste? Tasteless. Why? the taste buds are dry. You don't need to get fever for this. You can do another experiment. Do it in privacy. Take some tissue papers. Hold out your tongue, your own. And then take away all the sapidity, saliva from it. Have little pinch of salt, little pinch of sugar, little pinch of chili powder, and then quickly put it on your tongue. And immediately, before it oozes out water, what is the experience? It is a tasteless lump on your tongue. You cannot know what taste it is unless there is that sapidity. That is the guna of water. Along with the earlier gunas of Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa. And the Prithvi Tattva, what is its guna? Is the smell, Gandha. And a dry piece of land, when it suddenly rains, such beautiful fragrance that it brings out. Or when we were in our villages, after the Godhuli Samaya, Godhuli is when all the cows come back from their that long walk. So they come back home, it is all dusty. Village tracks there, they get dusty. So in the evening, they throw water in front of the house. The friend throws water and then draw some rangoli. I was having the Telugu word for it and searching for rangoli. So they draw some patterns called rangoli. When they draw it, and that first water when it strikes earth, because it has been so hot whole day, and the moment water lands on it, such beautiful smell that it comes. So the earth, its quality is Gandha. And imagine the creation of the Lord. Every seed that has to germinate has to be sown in earth. Every flower that grows with a distinct Gandha, distinct fragrance. The source being earth again. One source and multiple ranges of smells. That smell is the quality of earth, along with the earlier four qualities. So here he starts creating the Pancha Mahabhutas from its Pancha Tattva. And then he creates Indriya, Mana, then he creates the Antakarana. Then he becomes the Jiva himself in the creation. And then the Bhoga Vastus of the world also is what he becomes. Annam Annadaha Vai. The one who is the Bhoga Vastu and the one who is enjoying that Bhoga Vastu. Anna does not have to basically mean only food and that which has to be eaten. Anna means anything that is been taken. Like what is the food for your eyes? The forms. Food for your ears? The sound. Food for your thought. Don't we use this kind of a usage? Meaning, are you feeding something to it? No. That thought becomes a churning process and that gives you some stimulus. That becomes a food for the thought. Similarly, each indriya has a food. Who is the one who is actually enabling these indriyas to revel in those particular bhoga vastus? It is that Supreme. Now this Supreme, who becomes everything, from that Supreme alone everything has expressed, how can we differentiate from that Supreme as this world to be separate from Him? Meaning, there is not a world existing other than that Supreme. Wherein that Supreme's quality is Satchidananda. Now, in that world, what are we projecting because of our likes and dislikes? Goodness, badness. Happiness, miserableness. Positiveness, negativeness. In fact, there is nothing of goodness or badness in this world. It is only divine. What is it that creates goodness and badness? It is this layer of likes and dislikes inside of the ego, ahankara, which has the likes and dislikes, which bifurcates the world into good and bad. The moment this dvandva is created by the ego, our Ramayana starts. Our Bhagavatam starts. It doesn't matter. Thus, from that one Supreme alone, everything comes into existence. What is the grandeur of that one Virata, Adhisthata? So that Virata Purusha is explained, which then transfers into being when Virata can become any specific creation. Then he becomes the specific creation known as the great avatars. So the avatar takes into place in the 6th and 7th chapters. That we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.